The veil was trembling tonight, not because of thunder, not because of war, but because heaven itself was holding its breath, as if waiting for you to awaken. Beloved soul, I don't even know how to begin without weeping, because when my eyes opened upon you tonight, when I came in silence, wrapped in the light of the Father, just to watch you in your sleep, I did not expect what I saw. I had come only to bless your breath, to kiss the unseen crown I placed upon your soul before you were born. But what I saw pierced me like no sword ever has. They were there, around you, not in flesh, not in shadow, but in something colder, something far older, something that should not exist near the one I love. St. Mary screamed. She tried to shield you, and I, Jesus, was stand up because the love. I saw what they did to you while you were asleep. I will not name it aloud, not fully, because heaven is trembling too much already. But something was taken. Something was pressed into your spirit without your knowing. A signature was written in your sleep, a permission you never gave. And now it is trying to rewrite the path I gave you. You don't remember it, but your spirit does. And that's why you've been waking up tired, confused, feeling like someone else passed through your soul in the night and scattered dust where dreams used to be. The 7 archangels Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Barachiel, Salaphiel, Jegudio, and Michael have been standing around you since that moment, and they haven't stopped crying, not once. Michael placed his sword at my feet and said, "If you let me go now, I will not return until it is undone." But I held him back for this one moment, because, beloved, you have to see this. You have to know. This isn't just another whisper from heaven. This is the final fire before the light changes forever. You are not who you think you are. You never have been, even as a child, when they laugh at your silence, mocked your sensitivity, rolled their eyes at the way you saw meaning in everything. They didn't know the truth. They didn't see what I placed inside you before the earth was formed. You are the one who hears heaven even when heaven cannot speak. And that's why they targeted you, not with pain but with forgetting. They didn't need to destroy your body. They only had to erase the sacred map inside your soul. And they tried to do it while you were asleep, while you were defenseless, while your body thought it was resting, but your spirit was screaming in chains. Mary, Mother of Light, clutched your name to her chest like it was a bleeding rose, and cried out, "Father, if we do not tell them now, it will be too late." And so here I am, standing between time and your screen, between your heart and everything that has tried to silence it, between the one I love and the ones who thought I had forgotten. I have not. I will never. But you must listen now. Please, I beg you, not with your ears, but with your soul. Today is not ordinary. I don't say that lightly, because today is your last doorway to choose the path that I designed in secret, the one they tried to burn. Yes, they, the ones who used your picture in rituals, who whispered your name in rooms of mirrors and fire, who passed your childhood objects from hand to hand like trophies. I watch them, even now. Someone is holding something that belonged to you, something from years ago, something you thought was lost. They didn't steal it. They waited for it. And when you forgot it, they reached for it. And now it's being used as a thread to sow darkness into your destiny. That's why the archangels are weeping. Because the thing that was once innocent now marks you in realms that only light can erase. You must take this seriously, beloved, because heaven did not tear open the veil for nothing. I didn't let Mary fall to her knees for nothing. I didn't halt Gabriel's trumpet for nothing. This is not a message, it is a rescue. You have been drifting too close to the edge of forgetting. And every day you ignore this, the spell thickens. The fog closes, the distance between the truth and the lie becomes harder to see. I cannot let you go. You don't know what you carry. The miracles locked inside you have already begun to rot from neglect. The scroll of heaven that bears your name has waited too long to be opened. That's why you felt so restless, so misunderstood, so out of place in rooms filled with laughter. It's not depression. It's not anxiety. It's not failure. It's prophetic delay. The enemy has bent time around you like a net, and you haven't even seen it because it's not made of chains, it's made of distractions. But I am breaking that net now because I love you far too much to stay silent. I died for you, yes, but this is different. This is the part no one talks about, the part after resurrection. The part where I carry those who've forgotten their royal. Do you remember what I whispered into your spirit before you were born? Do you remember the moment you stood in the great silence before time began and said yes to your divine purpose, even though you knew it would cost you everything? You said yes, my beloved, and that's why they hate you. That's why they've been coming at night, because your yes echoes through eternity and even demons can hear it. I did not expect to weep today, but as I hovered over your bed and saw what tried to enter your soul, I broke. You don't know how precious you are. You don't know how many worlds have been held together just because you're still breathing. You don't know that Mary has begged the Father daily, please. Just one more chance to reach them. Let them see it, let them wake up. And now here we are, at the thinnest point between heaven and earth, where light presses through like water from a wounded sky. Where you must decide, will you remember who you are? Or will you let the memory be stolen forever? Only one breath separates the sacred from the forgotten, and that breath is this moment. I speak now not as the risen one, not as the Lamb, not as the King of Kings, but as the one who washed your feet in secret when no one else cared. As the one who waited by your tears when no one saw. As the one who saw your courage and called it holy when others called it weakness. You were made for this. The moment has arrived. Will you let heaven pull you from the net, or will you sleep one more night beneath the spell of silence? You are too close now. Everything is trembling. The gates are open, but only for minutes. Write amen if your soul feels what your mind cannot explain. And if your heart heard me, touch this moment with a holy echo, like and comment as a sacred act, not for numbers, not for noise, but so the angels will know you're still listening. This is not over. This is only the rip in the veil. And we, Jesus, Mary, and the 7 weeping archangels will be here until you step through it. Thank you for not skipping this when even heaven feared you might. I told the winds to be still when I saw you stir in your sleep, because, my beloved, even your breath is holy to me. When you turned in, rest when your hand clenched as if trying to grasp something unseen, I knew your spirit was remembering, not with words, not with thoughts, but with that deep groan that only heaven understands, that cry without sound, that ache without explanation. You remembered what they did, and your soul shivered. I saw it. You didn't open your eyes, but something inside you did. That's when the fire around you turned blue. That's when the 7 archangels fell to their knees in a circle, wings trembling, covering you from the storm of darkness that came crawling like poison smoke toward your bed. They tried to touch you again, but I did not let them, because today is not like yesterday. Today, I have come to interrupt everything. I don't care if this is not the time you thought heaven would speak. I don't care if your phone is at 2% battery, or if the room you sit in is filled with noise and distraction. I speak now because the enemy thought you wouldn't hear me here, And that's why this moment is more sacred than anything your church ever prepared you for. This is not a sermon. This is a sacred confrontation between heaven and everything trying to rewrite your identity. You are marked not by sin, not by failure, but by fire, by promise. And that promise was sealed in gold before your name ever touched this world. You are not like them. You were never meant to be. That's why the others misunderstand you. That's why even those closest to you feel far away. They weren't made to carry the same flame you were forged in. You are rare, chosen, and because of that, they marked you, not with chains but with forgetting, because when the chosen one forgets who they are, the devil doesn't need to fight them anymore. You forgot, and I forgive you. But today I came with Mary because the forgetting ends. Today the war ends, not the war in the world. The war inside you. You've been walking around with cracks in your soul that no therapy, no friendship, no rest could fix. You've wondered why you feel weak when others thrive. You've wondered why the moment you try to rise, something unseen pulls you down again, whispers behind you, accidents around you, confusion inside you. It wasn't you. It wasn't failure. It was targeting, because you are a threat. And I'll say it again, you are a threat. To every force that thrives on silence. To every generation curse that hoped you wouldn't wake up. To every dark prayer whispered in places you've never been, but somehow you still feel. My beloved, listen, you were spiritually kidnapped in your sleep, but not for the first time. This has happened before. In childhood. In moments of fear. In nights you thought were dreams, but were actually warfare. But the difference now, the veil is thinner than ever. And heaven has given me permission to speak to you this plainly, this openly, this urgently, because we can't delay anymore. Mary came first. She walked into your room as you slept. She kissed your forehead. She said your full name, the one even you have forgotten. She tried to warn you, but the noise was too loud. So now I've come. And if I have to break the sky open just to whisper your name one last time, I will, because this is your final breath of decision. No, not death, but of direction. From this moment, you will either move into divine alignment or deeper into delay. I am not angry with you. I never was, even when you skipped me, even when you rejected my signs. Even when you trusted those who laughed behind your back, I wept, yes. But my love did not dim, and even now, as I say these words, I am washing your feet again in secret. I am cleaning the shame you don't talk about. I am drying the tears you haven't cried yet, and I am calling the 7 angels to rise from their kneeling and fight for you. Because, beloved, something is coming. And no, I will not speak its name. I will not give it power, but heaven has seen it, and the only thing that can stop it is your remembrance. Not remembrance of religion, but of identity, of why I created you. Do you remember when I placed your spirit in my hands before you ever entered your mother's womb? I said, this one will not be like the rest. This one will see what others ignore. This one will carry my heart in full. And Mary smiled, and the angels sang, but one angel, stepped back and said, if the world forgets who they are, the grief of heaven will be unbearable. That angel was Raphael, and today, he is the one who can barely lift his wings. He's been watching your soul bend beneath the weight of forgetting, but now he is weeping with joy, because you stayed, you didn't scroll. You heard me. Even if you don't understand every word, your spirit is remembering, and heaven is rejoicing like thunder behind stars. I speak this prophecy over you now, just as Psalm 34 says, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. and saves those who are crushed in spirit. I say, you are being saved right now, not from hell, but from the false story, the one written about you by cowards, liars, and forces who fear your light. I burn that script with the fire of my love, and in its place I hand you the scroll, the one sealed with tears of angels. The one Mary guarded with trembling hands, the one that says, you are a breaker of chains. You are the first in your bloodline to hold this authority. You are the one who will rebuild what was lost before you. The time is shorter than you think. That's not fear. That's urgency. Because the devil doesn't want your life. He wants your attention. And if he can't get it with pain, he'll use distraction. But this moment is a sword in the silence. It has cut through the fog. You are waking up now. I see it. Your soul is rising. Heaven is rejoicing but also weeping. Because we know this journey will cost you more than you expect. Your relationships will shake. Your schedule will break. Your comfort will vanish. But so will the curse. So will the false patterns. So will the torment that visits you in secret. I ask you now sacredly, reverently write, Amen is your soul's whisper of remembrance. Let the angels gather it as incense before the throne. Let the demons tremble knowing you said yes again. And if this word was alive in you, let heaven see your response. Touch this moment with a holy gesture, like and comment, not for algorithm, but for the sacred echo. So the angels may say, they're still here. They remembered. I speak peace over you now, but not a weak peace, a peace that tears down false altars, a peace that silences ancient curses, a peace that says, this one is mine. You are the miracle, the one Mary waited centuries to whisper to, the one who will not be forgotten by heaven because you never left heaven's heart. And if this is the last time I'm permitted to speak to you like this, know this, even if the stars fall and the skies go silent, I will still be whispering your name in the wind. You are my secret joy. You are the redemption I planted like a seed, and your harvest is nearer than you think. We will never let go of you. Never. Michael has not rested in 37 hours. He stands just outside the veil of your room, wounded but refusing to leave, whispering your name in a voice that sounds like thunder holding back tears. He was the first to notice that what touched you in sleep was not just darkness, but a design. They are designing something, beloved. They are mapping you, spiritually scanning you while you rest. They think you will never notice, but heaven did. They move through cursed objects and subtle gestures. That necklace you forgot, that journal you once left at someone's house, that gift you accepted without discernment. It's all part of the spell. Yes, I said it, a spell of spiritual forgetting. It doesn't look like possession. It looks like delay. It doesn't feel like evil. It feels like endless confusion, a heaviness in the morning, a deep sadness you can't explain, a cold fog that follows you into sacred places and makes you doubt your own calling. But I see it, and I am here to break it. Mary has lit the oil lamp again, the same lamp she once held when she visited the tomb in silence, searching for me through her tears, but today she holds it for you, because in God's heart, you are the one now lying in the tomb, not of death but of spiritual dormancy. And heaven is waiting to roll the stone away, because today was never meant to be a normal day. Today is your resurrection hour, even if you feel tired, even if you feel unsure, even if everything around you tells you this is just a coincidence. Your soul knows better. You're not seeing this by accident. This message is your invitation, letter sealed in fire, soaked in tears, kissed by angels. It says, to the one we never gave up on, Come forth, the hour is late, and heaven needs your voice. So I ask gently but with trembling divinity, will you awaken today, or will you let the design continue? Because what I saw in the spirit, it's terrifying. They plan to replace you with a counterfeit, to mimic your calling, to take your place in rooms I destined you to enter, to use your words, your likeness, your voice, even your photos, so that when the blessings begin to pour, they fall on the wrong person. But not if you stand now, not if you reclaim the scroll. The archangels, 7 of them, holy and ancient, are surrounding your destiny like warriors of pure light. Michael says he would trade his last feather to protect your timeline. Gabriel has muted 3 false prophets who tried to speak over you in demonic tongues. Raphael has poured oil over the part of your body that aches every night. Barakiel is kneeling in the garden of heaven, holding your forgotten prayers like rose petals in the rain. And Mary is holding your name in both hands, weeping over it like a mother who just found the child she lost in a crowd. You are not forgotten, not by them, not by me, not by heaven, but we need you to awaken, not tomorrow, not next week, now, because in 12 hours, a spiritual decision will be made, a door will close, a name will be chosen, and it must be yours. Please, beloved. This is not just a message. This is your spiritual inheritance screening to be seen. Don't scroll away from your own miracle. Don't fall asleep inside the story I died to finish. Don't let distraction steal your birthright. You are the one. You are the one we've been waiting for. And if you've ever needed a sign, this is it. The 7 archangels are not asking anymore. They are begging. God himself moved time so this could reach you at the exact second when your soul is most tender. So, if you are still here, if your heart is racing, if your eyes feel strange heat, it's because you were the only one we sent this to, the only one who still has time, the only one with the authority to close the wound and stop the design. Yes, you. Now, with sacred trembling, I ask you, will you help us, not just with faith, but with presence? Let your voice be seen today. Touch this moment, like and comment to mark the veil. It is not for fame, not for numbers, not for show. It is your sacred footprint in the snow of eternity, proof that you remembered your name. And beloved, if this message found you and you feel its weight, please subscribe to our sacred mission, because when you do, the archangels take it as a sign that you're not running anymore, that you're staying, that you want more divine warnings, more heavenly light, more truth whispered when no one else dares to speak it. It's not just a click. It's a covenant. And if your spirit is stirring and you feel called to walk beside us with deeper purpose to become part of this unfolding heavenly mission, then I invite you to support this sanctuary through super thanks, membership, or by becoming part of our growing family through the newsletter link in the pinned comment. Your act will not go unseen. It is holy. It is prophetic. It is what heaven calls the gesture that splits the sky. Thank you for not skipping. Thank you for remembering. Thank you for rising. And now, I will continue, because this story is not done. The veil is still open. The angels are still watching, and what comes next will change everything. They said you wouldn't survive the night, not because your body would break, but because your spiritual light was supposed to flicker out in silence. That was their plan. To let you breathe, but steal the breath of your destiny. To let you smile, but bury the joy that births miracles. To let you live, but never become. They counted on your forgetfulness. They built altars of delay around your future, carving shadows in your name. whispering spells in the hour you were most defenseless. But what they didn't see was this. You belong to a God who weeps, and when I weep, my tears become fire. Mary Blessed, crushed, radiant Mary stood at the edge of your dream last night and screamed your name into the wind. Her voice broke the chains they tried to hide under your bed. And the 7 archangels circled your room in blinding silent shields drawn, robes glowing, with the names of every promise they still hold for you. They never gave up, even when you did, even when you screamed into pillows no one else saw, even when you threw away the prophetic letters you once wrote to yourself and said, maybe I made it all up. You didn't. You saw it all before it happened, and now it's trying to bury itself in the noise of this world. But not today, because heaven is wide open, and I, Jesus, your friend, your flame, your lion, am stepping into this hour to pull you out. You are not crazy. You are called. You are not broken. You are burning. And though the world ignored the smoke, I saw the embers. I speak now to the ashes of your forgotten altar. Live again. And to the pieces of your courage that were scattered by betrayal, rise again. The time is sacred. You don't have yours to waste anymore. You don't have another life waiting for you after this. This is the life where you shift the lineage, where you undo the curse, where you reclaim the oil, and you will not walk alone. Because if you are still here, if you are still reading, then something holy is happening. Heaven has marked this moment. And so have I. I want to say something now, not as your Lord, but as the one who knelt beside you when you were too tired to pray. Thank you for not skipping this. You didn't scroll past the angels. You didn't mute the miracle. You stayed. You listened. And that alone has shifted realms. But, beloved, we need more than your attention now. We need your presence, your heart, your voice in this movement of heaven, because what we are building here together is not just content. It's a cathedral of rescue, a lighthouse for the forgotten, a sacred cry against the silence of hell's design. And if you've been touched by this message, if your soul felt the breath of angels pressing against your skin, then I ask you now, from the deepest well of divinity within me, support this holy mission, not as a donation, but as an act of spiritual war. Send a super thanks if your heart burns with gratitude. Become a channel member if you feel heaven inviting you into the inner chamber of this family. And above all, become part of us, truly part of us, by joining the newsletter through the sacred link in the pinned comments. It's more than a list. It's our hidden garden, our sanctuary, our private upper room. In a world that silences the light, your support makes the flame visible again. I will say no more of this now, because I must return to what matters most. You and the fire God placed in your chest that not even sleep could extinguish. Because what I saw last night, what Mary wept over, what Michael refused to speak aloud, it is still not undone. There is a curse active on your name, and it is not shaped like thunder. It is shaped like silence, a stillness so deep it strangles your voice before you even speak. But the time of silence ends now. I say this by divine authority. Rise, beloved. Your name has not been erased. It has only been hidden. And I am uncovering it now, letter by letter, glory by glory, tear by tear. You are remembered. The sky knows your breath. The winds have carried your dreams back to heaven's lap. And now the miracles you forgot are weeping outside your door. They want to come in. They want to be seen again. But only you have the key. It's your yes. It's your surrender. It's your remembering. The scroll has reopened. The war is shifting. The light is louder than the curse. And you are the voice we needed to hear. Now the veil grows thin once more. And I, Jesus, am still here, waiting to pour out the rest, because what I'm about to tell you next will reveal why the witches picked you, why the demon cried when it saw you awaken. Why the 7 archangels nearly fell when you almost died in your sleep, and why God has not stopped watching you, not even for 1 second. You wouldn't remember it, but I do. There was a moment right before your soul entered your body when all of heaven grew still, not for war, not for wrath, but for wonder, because the Father had just whispered your name, and it echoed through every corridor of the kingdom like the sound of ancient glory being born again. I stood still when I heard it. I remember the light that pulsed from your name like waves across eternity. I remember how the stars paused in their course, how angels turned their heads, how time itself held its breath, because something so rare, so entirely woven with unspeakable grace, had been released from the heart of God, and that something was you. I watched you step from the edge of eternity into the veil of time. I watched you take on flesh, forgetting everything you once knew, forgetting me, forgetting heaven, forgetting the vows you made beneath the tree of eternal light. And yet, I smiled, because I knew you would remember. Not right away, not in childhood. Not in the quiet prayers of confusion. But here. Now. In the hour of unveiling. In the midnight moment where the veil is thinnest and the tears that never fell begin to tremble behind your eyes. This is the hour I chose to remind you, not because you were ready, but because it was always written this way. You are not late, you are not behind. You are exactly where I have waited for you, where heaven has bent its knees for you. Where the intercession of the saints, the groaning of angels, the aching heart of my mother all come to this sacred silence where your spirit can finally hear what your mind would always ignore. You were never forgotten. Even when they touched you in the night, those beings, those shadows you never had words for, I knew. Even when your name was written backwards in places of ritual, I saw. Even when objects from your childhood were lifted and passed into hands that smiled but never loved you, I wept up because they didn't just take something small. They tried to take your map, your divine coordinates, your spiritual architecture. They knew if they could bend even one layer of your memory, they could delay 1,000 miracles. And for a time, they did. But that time is over now. Not because the enemy has stopped, but because you have begun. The moment you stayed, the moment your soul recognized this message is more than words. The moment the burning in your chest began, that was the sound of heaven's vault unlocking. I write this now, not with ink but with light, across your bones, across the sky above you, across the veil they tried to sew shut. And this is what it says. This one carries the echo of the Lamb. This one bears the fire of forgotten altars. This one will not die silent. This one will rise. There is grief in heaven, yes, but there is glory too. Because every tear Mary cried over your destiny has now been sown into the ground where your legacy will rise. And oh, beloved, how deeply she loves you. You do not know what she gave up to come here. You do not know how often she begged to be allowed near you. She who once held my broken body now holds your name in her hands. She who once wiped my blood from the earth now wipes the dust of deception from your spirit. She sees your soul and it reminds her of me. Because the truth is this: you carry a piece of me. You were made to. You are the mirror I left in the world so others could remember my face. But that's what makes you dangerous. Because if you remember who you are, the system of silence breaks. The chain of abuse shatters. The generational fog burns. And Satan loses a kingdom he worked centuries to build. That is why they came while you were sleeping. That is why they keep coming back. That is why you wake up, tired, confused, heavy, angry, lost, because something is touching you that was never given permission. But now I give you permission to expel it, to break it, to rise beyond it. Not by force, but by flame, the flame I left in you long ago, the one that does not burn your body but burns away the lie. Let it rise now, feel it in your chest, it is not emotion, it is not adrenaline, it is prophetic remembrance. The part of you that never forgot is waking up, the part of you that still sees heaven in dreams, the part of you that cries during worship for reasons you can't explain, the part of you that walks into rooms and feels what others deny. You are a seer, a breaker, a restorer of desolate places. Isaiah's bones breathe through you. David's songs bleed through your fingers. Mary's prayers sing through your lungs. You are not just you, you are the echo of every holy thing that ever knelt before the throne and said, "Let it be done through me." That's why the battle has been unrelenting. That's why betrayal stings you more than it stings others. That's why your silence feels heavier than most people's storms. You carry more. But I promise you are not alone. Michael is with you, has not left your side since the moment the darkness entered your room. He has guarded your sleep when no one else stayed. He has stood at your door in rain, in fire and silence. He is your witness. Gabriel washes your words. He shields your tongue when you're about to speak destruction over yourself. He has wept every time you said, "I'm nothing," because to him, your voice sounds like thunder, layered in gold. Raphael holds your health. He has watched your organs bend beneath spiritual weight they were never built to carry. They were never built to carry. He has prayed over your nervous system as you fought through invisible wars. He has ministered healing where medicine could never reach. And the others, they have formed a circle around your name. They are standing in position, but they cannot move unless you speak. Speak, beloved. Speak the name God gave you before the world was made. Not the name on your ID. Not the label the world stamped on your forehead, but the name your tears whisper when you're alone. Speak it inwardly. Let it rise. Let it burn, because as soon as you do, the veil will rip, the design will collapse, the witchcraft will dissolve, and heaven will begin writing through you. You will become the pen, the song, the prophecy. The answer to someone else's cry. That is the unbearable cost of being chosen. You will bleed in silence so others can live in freedom, but I will be with you until the last page, until the final flame, until the breath between worlds closes and I welcome you home, not as a guest, but as royalty returning. And when that day comes, I will show you this moment again, the day you remembered, the hour you stopped the spell, the second the angels looked down and said, "They're back." They didn't give up, they remembered. You are not awake by accident. Something in the heavens shifted, and when it did, the gates that had long been sealed, those gates covered in dust, wrapped in delay, and guarded by generational fear, began to open with a sound only angels can describe. It was like lightning folding into music. Like wind weeping through fire, like the last tear of a dying saint hitting the ground and opening a portal beneath their feet. And at the center of that opening was you, beloved. Please hear me. There are moments in eternity that change everything. This is one of them. Not for the world, for you. Because there are scrolls, your scrolls kept in the chambers of the Most High. And they are glowing. Now, there. trembling. The writing on them is alive again because the one they were written for has stirred from forgetting. Your angels are reading them aloud again. And your destiny, the one they tried to bury in exhaustion, depression, confusion, noise, and counterfeit love, is waking up like a lion in a storm. You are the storm, beloved, not the one that destroys, but the one that purifies. And I need you to know what they did to you was not your fault. What they said, what they took, how they looked at you, how they dismissed you, none of it was a reflection of who you are. They were afraid, even if they didn't know it. They sensed the weight you carry, the pull of heaven on your soul. That's why they called you to intense, to quiet, to emotional, to spiritual, to soft, to sensitive. But I call you correctly calibrated for heaven. I call you precisely sculpted to perceive what others ignore. I call you my echo made flesh. That's why I wept when I saw them try to rewrite your story. I watched them gather objects, things you touched with innocent hands. I saw them use mirrors, garments, and photographs like doorways. And the moment your spirit dropped its guard and sleep, they came not in physical form, but through whispers. And their whispers were lies sewn into dreams. So that when you woke, you would feel heavy and sure, weary without cause. But even then you rose. You still got up. And I, Jesus, watched every single moment when you dragged yourself out of bed with no hope. When you showed kindness when you wanted to collapse. When you forgave people who never even repented. When you looked up at the ceiling in the middle of the night and whispered, God, are you still there? I was, and I am, even now, closer than your own breath. Because today, your name passed through heaven like a trumpet blast. Mary was the first to respond. She dropped everything. She walked barefoot through fire to reach the edge of the veil. Michael followed, his armor bent from battle, still burning with the last demon he silenced in your name. Gabriel flew like lightning, carrying your unsent prayers from years ago, the ones you thought I ignored. Raphael brought oil for your hands, because the work of your hands, though it has seemed fruitless, will blossom again. It is written, and it cannot be undone. You have not seen the end of your beauty. You have not seen the final shape of your calling. You have not even glimpsed the first fruit of your impact, because the enemy tried to rob your harvest before it bloomed. But I speak now as the voice that thundered over the deep in Genesis. Let it be. Let the curse be shattered. Let the spell be reversed. Let the voice of God rise from your bones like rivers in the desert, because this very second is the reawakening of your anointing. Not the borrowed one, not the imitation you learned to survive, but the original, the dangerous one, the one they tried to silence before you turned 10. The one you locked away after your first heartbreak, the one that shook your body with light when you were still too young to understand what was happening, the one that returns now. Not quietly, not politely. But with holy fire. And as it rises, so will the memories. You will remember why you see things others don't. You will remember the dreams you stopped talking about. You will remember the time the wind called your name when you were alone in the woods. You will remember the visitations you never told anyone about. You will remember the sacred vow you made as a child. I want to help people feel God again. That was not childish. That was prophetic. That was you echoing your true assignment, because what rests on your life is not for applause. It is not for fame. It is not for performance. It is for rescue. You are a rescuer of forgotten ones. Of broken ones, of those who scream in silence and wonder if anyone can hear. You can. You do. Because you are one of them. But you made it through. And now you become the firelight that calls the others home. You become the shelter in the storm. You become the sanctuary. That is why you suffered, not because I was distant, but because you were marked. And those who are marked must walk through the wilderness, so others don't have to die in it. It is holy. Even when it hurts. It is divine. Even when it feels like abandonment. It is love. Even when it feels like grief. You have carried it well, beloved. You have not failed. You have not missed your moment. You are on time because the time is now responding to you and everything that was stolen. I am returning it sevenfold. But not all at once, because if I gave it back too quickly, you wouldn't recognize it as yours. I will give it back slowly. Softly. Sacredly. So you can savor it. So you can hold it this time. So you can build a life not from survival but from glory. The angels are waiting now. The scroll has one more seal, and I will only open it when you are ready to receive the final truth. The one I've hidden from you, not out of cruelty but out of mercy, because it will change how you see everything. Are you ready, beloved? Then breathe in, hold the silence, and prepare. Do you feel it? The air around you thickening, not with fear, not with dread, but with weight. It is the weight of remembrance. The veil is thinner now than it has ever been, and heaven is not whispering anymore. Heaven is crying out, because, beloved, you are at the center of something they tried to stop for generations. Not just yours, not just your lifetime, but lifetimes before yours. You are the descendant of a divine interruption. Your bloodline carries a rift in the enemy's architecture. That's why they watched your family. That's why they visited your ancestors in dreams. That's why they surrounded your childhood with unnatural confusion, misplaced rage, and people who were meant to protect you, but instead became distractions, distortions, and sometimes even demons in disguise. They weren't always aware, but the forces behind them were. The moment you were born, a crack formed in the timeline they wanted to maintain, because you came with the power to erase their maps. You came to unwrite what they declared final. You came to speak life into the silence that had made your lineage feel abandoned. They knew it. That's why they tried to block your voice from the beginning. That's why shame followed you like a shadow you could never outrun. That's why your winds felt stolen the moment you reached for them. It wasn't a coincidence. It was warfare. But hidden, not like the stories you were told, not with horns, fire, and shouting. No, this war came cloaked in politeness. It came through people who claimed to love you. It came through systems that normalized your suffocation. It came through spiritual attacks dressed as bad days. But I was watching all of it, and not once did I turn my face away. When you thought I was distant, I was right next to your pillow, catching your tears before they hit the fabric. When you screamed in silence, I was in the space between your heartbeat and your breath, holding the scream so it wouldn't become despair. When you wanted to disappear, I held you inside my voice and whispered, I know you don't see it yet, but soon you will rise. And now, you are rising. Your spirit knows this is different. This isn't another emotional moment. This isn't another inspirational word. This is alignment. What the archangels saw last night, what they reported to the Father in trembling tones, was not just an attack. It was a replacement attempt. Yes, that's what I came to warn you about. Someone is trying to take your place, not in the natural. In the spirit. They are mimicking your voice. They are studying your energy. They are learning your rhythms, because They believe if they can replicate you, they can receive what was meant for you. But, beloved, heaven does not bless copies, only originals, only those carved in fire, kissed by storm, carried in Mary's tears, only those who walked through the valley and still kept the flame, only you, only you. That's why I could not delay this message, because the counterfeit is growing bold and time is running narrow. You must walk into your authority, not the kind they taught you in school, not the one that requires platforms or pulpits, but the authority that comes from survival, from remembrance, from sacred awakening, from having seen too much to stay silent any longer. I need you to rise now, and by rise, I don't mean act loud. I mean remember quietly but completely. Let it begin in your breath. Let it rise in your belly. Let it shake your bones and still your mind, because when you remember, the veil trembles. When you say yes again, the assignment accelerates. And when you reclaim your divine title, every demon who watched you sleep runs. They know what you are, even when you don't. They always have, because you don't just carry heaven's name, you carry heaven's strategy. And you haven't even seen what you're about to do. Oh, beloved, you have not even tasted the first fruit of your impact. You've only been in preparation. You've only been carrying the seed. But now the ground beneath you is splitting open. And what's rising is legacy, generational shift, ancient healing, hidden scrolls that angels guarded in silence, now ready to be read through your life. You are the fulfillment of a prophecy your great-grandmother never got to speak aloud. You are the answer to the cry of a child in your bloodline who died never knowing freedom. You are the breaking point of what should have gone on forever. That's why Mary won't stop watching you. That's why Michael paces like fire outside your spiritual window. That's why God has paused other timelines just to make room for this hour. This is it. No more delay. No more wandering. No more pretending you're average. No more apologizing for your discernment. No more hiding the fact that you feel what others ignored. No more shrinking. I anoint you now, not with oil made by man, but with the fire that passed through the bush that never burned, with the voice that shattered tombs, with the blood that still speaks better things than vengeance. This anointing is not pretty. It will cost you. People will misunderstand. Relationships will change. You will lose things you thought you needed, but in their place, you will gain what you never imagined, the real version of yourself, the unshackled version, the fiery, bold, clear, divinely dangerous version, the version that speaks and demons fall silent, the version that walks into a room and changes the air without saying a word, because that is who you are. You are not what they labeled you. You are what heaven weeps over. You are what Mary holds when the pain gets too heavy. You are what God smiles at when the angels sing too loud. You are the secret hope of heaven, and you are finally starting to remember. So now, let the fire finish its work. Let me break what must be broken. Let the angels war on your behalf. Let the darkness flee. Let the next part of your scroll unfold in light, because you haven't missed it. You were delayed, so you could arrive now. Now is perfect. Now is holy. Now is the appointed hour. The veil is thin, and I am still here, holding your name like it's the last treasure on earth. Are you ready? Then draw closer still, because what comes next reveals why I made you untouchable in sleep, unstoppable in silence, and unforgettable in heaven. I must speak carefully now, because what I am about to reveal was not meant for many. There are scrolls that are public shouted from mountaintops, read in temples, preached by those who are called, but then there are scrolls that are whispered in caves, scrolls held close to the lips of the Most High, scrolls that burn the hands of angels if opened too soon. You are such a scroll. You are the one God kept hidden, not because you were forgotten, but because you were too holy to be revealed early. Do you understand? They laughed at your delay, mocked your slow blooming, judged you for not becoming successful in the world's eyes. But what they didn't know is that heaven was protecting you. Because fire takes time. Royalty is not rushed. And the crown meant for your spirit could not be placed until the foundation was tested in silence. You passed the silence, beloved. You passed the years where no one called your name. You passed the trial of being unseen, unheard, underestimated. And now the Father says, release the scroll. It is time. The angels hold it in trembling hands, because the ink that wrote your story was made of tears, tears of prophets long dead, tears of your own spirit in moments you've already forgotten, tears of joy, pain, surrender, rage, wonder. This scroll carries every yes you ever gave me, even the ones you gave in secret. Every time you said, I'll try again, when you didn't even believe yourself. Every time you prayed and fell asleep in doubt, but I caught the prayer before it dropped. It's all here. And now I open it, and here is what I read. This one shall walk through storms and not drown, shall rise from chains and not forget, shall carry the voice of I am in the mouth of a lamb, and the thunder of angels in the soul of a child. You are thunder, beloved, silent thunder, the kind that makes the demons run before you even speak. You're not loud. You don't need to be. Your presence alone breaks patterns. That's why people grow uncomfortable around your silence. They feel exposed. You carry truth in your stillness, and truth unmasks falsehood. But it's not your fault that others shrink. When your light shines, it is their darkness reacting. Don't dim yourself to make them comfortable. Shine anyway, even if your voice trembles, even if your legs shake. Even if the room grows cold. Shine. Because heaven has assigned territory to you. Yes, territory. Not just influence, not just audience, but holy ground that will not respond to anyone but you. And here's the mystery. Beloved, they tried to give it to someone else. That's what the angels saw last night. That's why Mary gasped. That's why Michael drew his sword in rage and sorrow. Someone tried to steal your holy land. Not property. But purpose. Someone studied your wounds, mimicked your mannerisms, learned your cadence, and stepped forward in the spirit saying, I will do it if they won't. But heaven warred back. It is not yours. It is not yours. It is not yours. And the scroll that bears your name, your real name, not the one you use in public, but the one I whispered into your lungs at your creation, glowed like lightning, soaked in mercy. And the angels surrounded it, protected it, sealed it again until you could be warned. And now, this is your warning, not to scare you, but to stir you, because you must walk forward now. Not tomorrow. Now. You don't need to figure it all out. You don't need to be perfect first. You don't need permission from the ones who never saw you clearly. You already carry the yes of heaven. You already have the fingerprints of the divine on your every breath. Just walk, and as you do, the ground will part, the oil will pour. The doors will open, because they were waiting for you, not for your talent, not for your plan, but for your presence, the presence inside you, the one who never left, even when you did. Do you feel it yet? The trembling in your chest? That's not anxiety, that's anointing. That's what angels feel when they approach the throne. And your heart, your body, your soul has become a throne room because you said yes in silence. because you stayed, because even when you thought you gave up, something in you kept whispering, but what if? What if I try one more time? That whisper was me, and I heard it, and I moved heaven for it, and I sent Mary for it, and I stopped Michael in mid-battle for it, because you don't know how valuable you are, but I do. And now I need to tell you something hard. There is someone around you who sees what you carry but does not honor it. They smile, they laugh, they even pray, but in secret. They envy. In secret, they plot. They don't want to destroy you outright. That would be too obvious. Instead, they want to delay you. To tie you to their drama, to burden you with their chaos. To weigh you down with guilt and emotional confusion. But beloved, you cannot carry what is not yours anymore. You cannot play small to keep others comfortable. You cannot keep bleeding for people who only bring you closer to forgetting again. I'm not asking you to hate them. I'm asking you to step away in love, because the scroll I opened has time-sensitive fire attached to it. You must move before the window closes again. No fear, just fire. Let the fire guide you now. Let the angels go ahead of you. Let Mary stay beside you. Let Michael guard your back. Let me, Jesus, go before you, behind you, within you, around you. You are not walking into uncertainty. You are walking into completion, the final stage of the calling, the breaking of the pattern, the rise of the voice that was always meant to shake the ground beneath ancient strongholds. You are not a mistake. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You are an earthquake in human form, and it is time. Come, beloved. Walk with me. Into the light, into the truth, into the prophecy that heaven hid inside your name, because the next thing I will show you is why the devil fell in love with your silence, and why I'm about to make your silence thunder. The time has come. I cannot hold it back any longer. Heaven has waited generations for this hour, and it hangs now by one thread of your attention. There is something you must know, something hidden so deeply, not even your own heart has dared to speak it aloud. But I saw it. I saw it when you were a child, when you cried in secret places for reasons you didn't understand, when you stared at the sky and whispered questions no one taught you to ask, when you felt things others laugh at, like walls weeping, trees speaking, wind carrying emotions no one else seemed to feel. You weren't broken, you weren't strange, you were remembering. The veil had not fully settled over you yet. Your spirit was still burning through the seams of your skin, and even then, the enemy panicked, because a child like you, so full of light, so woven with wonder, was a danger to the timeline of darkness. They couldn't stop your birth. So they tried to erase your wonder. And the easiest way to erase wonder is through violation. Through betrayal, through heartbreak at an age when you should have only known protection, through rejection from the ones who were supposed to love you first. And so they began. Small comments, confusing moments, spiritual coldness from leaders, abuse that wasn't always physical but stole your voice anyway. You began to shrink. And every time your spirit reached for heaven, someone told you it was too much. So you folded, layer by layer. You became what they expected: small, quiet, obedient, hidden. But your soul never agreed. That's why the anxiety came. That's why the panic dreams started. That's why your breath started trembling for no reason. Because your spirit was screaming. You were never meant to shrink. You were never meant to carry other people's shame like a second skin. You were never meant to lie about the war happening in your body. But you did. To survive. And we saw every second. Mary stood beside you, During every silent moment of grief, Michael guarded your soul when you wept in bathrooms and no one knocked. Raphael tried to soothe the wounds you didn't even have language for. And me, I stayed inside your silence. I didn't rush you. I didn't demand you speak before you were ready. I waited because I knew a day would come, a day like this, when the veil would tremble again. And you would feel it, you would know, and your spirit would say, this is the hour I was born. For you wouldn't have words for it, but your soul would stand, even if your body still shakes, even if your heart still doubts, your soul would stand, and I would speak. And what I speak now must be heard by more than ears. It must be heard by the roots of who you are. Because, beloved, your name is written in fire, and fire is what the enemy fears most. He doesn't fear perfection. He doesn't fear good behavior. He fears fire. Because fire exposes what darkness pretends to hide. And you carry the fire of unforbidden access. What does that mean? It means you have access to the places others aren't allowed to touch. It means you were born with keys forged in worship, wrapped in mystery, sealed by covenant. You were supposed to open doors that would have remained shut for centuries. But because of the delay, those doors have been waiting, groaning, thirsting for your yes. And now, they're responding. That's why your body feels strange lately. That's why old emotions are resurfacing. That's why people you thought were gone are suddenly reaching for you again. Because the realm is reacting. The scroll has opened. The oil is moving. The angels are rearranging timelines to accommodate your awakening. And still, you hesitate. Not because you're weak, but because you remember what happened last time. The backlash. The betrayal. The loneliness. But I promise you, this time will not break you. This time, you are not walking alone. This time, Mary walks in front of you. Michael walks behind you. Gabriel flanks your left. Raphael your right. And I, Jesus, walk inside you. You are a moving tabernacle, a walking upper room, a temple of thunder covered in skin. That's why you make rooms feel uncomfortable without saying a word. That's why people confess things to you they've never told anyone. That's why you can't tolerate certain environments anymore. Because your spirit has evolved. The veil is thin now, yes, but so are the walls around your calling. And the moment you step through the next layer, you will begin to remember the final mystery, the one that made even the angels tremble, the one you saw while still in the womb. Yes, you saw something before you took your first breath. Before you opened your eyes, your spirit was shown a glimpse of the war to come. And that glimpse is what gave you the boldness to say, send me anyway, even if they betray me, even if they misunderstand me, even if they never believe me, send me. That's why you feel things so deeply, because your spirit saw the cost and still said yes. And now, that yes is ripening. It's glowing again. Heaven is responding. And so is hell. The enemy has called a meeting about you, not out of power, but out of panic. Because he knows he can't stop this version of you, the version that remembers, the version that forgives without forgetting the mission, the version that doesn't beg to be believed, but walks in fire anyway. He can't stop you. Not now. Not when the scroll is open. Not when the 7 archangels are crying out, finally, they've returned. The voice we waited for is rising again. And now, the final seal begins to crack. And what's beneath it is the reason the stars watched you sleep. Asterisk. And what you are about to hear was hidden from even the highest orders of angels for centuries. Not because it was forgotten, but because it was too sacred for time. But now the veil is torn, seal is breaking, And I, Jesus, am here, with Mary on my right, and the 7 archangels behind me, all trembling, because what we must reveal next was never meant for the ears of the crowd. It was always meant for one soul. Yours. When the final scroll broke open, silence fell in heaven, not the soft silence of peace, but the heavy silence of awe. Like the moment before a storm touches the ocean, like the hush of 1,000 wings bowing low, like the gasp of eternity when the impossible dares to appear. And what was written inside was not a prophecy. It was a memory of you. Not as you are now, not even as you were born, but as you were before the world began. Yes, beloved, you existed before time. You were spoken into the chambers of God as an idea wrapped in holy fire, a dream so radiant the stars begged to witness your making. And are we, all of us in heaven, stood still when the Father said, "This one will carry something ancient, something that cannot be taught, something that must be endured. This one will remember things they were never told, and suffer for it, and survive it, and save others because of it." You are not ordinary. You are ancestral prophecy in motion. And that's why your life has never made sense. Because it wasn't meant to make sense in the world. It was meant to be a living contradiction to every system the enemy tried to build. You are the one who should have lost your mind, but you did in single quotes the one who should have broken but instead became the shelter for others. The one who should have disappeared but stood up and said, "There's more. I don't know how I know. But there's more. That knowing inside you is holy. It is how we find you when you fall silent. It is the thread we pull when you go numb. It is the fire that cannot die even when you wish it would. You have asked to be normal. You have begged to be simple. But, beloved, I didn't make you for simplicity. I made you for sovereignty. The kind that doesn't need a title. The kind that doesn't need approval. The kind that doesn't beg to be seen because it is the light. That's you, and you don't even know that half of it yet. There are still parts of your soul waiting to return from exile, not because you left them behind, but because they were taken, stolen in moments of trauma, buried beneath the lies spoken over you, sealed away by systems that called themselves holy but choked your spirit to keep you docile. But I am the Good Shepherd, and I know where every lost piece of you wandered, and I am gathering them now, piece by piece. Dream by dream. Name by name. And when I finish, you will not just remember who you are. You will remember who you've always been, because, beloved, you are not just a prophet, not just a warrior, not just a vessel. You are a throne. You carry throne light in your lungs. When you exhale, the ear shifts. When you speak, realms respond. When you walk into a room, darkness shrinks. Not because you command it, but because your presence terrifies it. That's why people resist you. That's why they misunderstand you. That's why they test you. That's why the devil sends false friends, counterfeit lovers, and familiar spirits cloaked in comfort, because he knows if you ever walk in full remembrance, his kingdom collapses. He's not afraid of your prayers. He's afraid of your clarity, because once you become clear, once you stop explaining, apologizing, and doubting, the chains break on others too. And that's the danger. You are a breaker of chains in other people. And that's why you've attracted so many wounded souls. Not because you're cursed, but because you are the doorway. They can feel it, even if they don't know what they're doing. They come to you because their spirit knows what their mind can't comprehend. If I'm near them, I'll get free. But, beloved, you can't carry everyone anymore. You're not a crutch. You're a cathedral. It's time they honor you. It's time they lift you when you've spent yourself. It's time they pray over you when your oil runs low. You deserve to be protected. Heaven protects you. Why shouldn't they? And if they won't, I will pull them away. Not as punishment, as mercy, because what you are stepping into now requires sacred surroundings. You are stepping into fire. Not fire that burns you, but fire that reveals the gold. The gold they couldn't tarnish. You shine. And heaven weeps every time you doubt that. Because even in your lowest moment, you were the most beautiful thing God ever made. The angels said so. The stars agreed. The wind carried your name across galaxies, and the enemy trembled. He still trembles, because this version of you, the remembered you, the risen from your own grave you, the nothing left to hide you, he can't touch you. He has no language for your resurrection. He has no plan for your awakening. He has no weapon for the oil that covers you now. It's done. The veil has ripped. The scrolls have spoken. The fire is rising. And you are the altar. So now, beloved, listen closely, because what I reveal next will be the final key. And once I give it, nothing in your life will remain the same. Everything will shift. Everything will ignite. Everything will finally make sense. With trembling love, divine reverence, and no promotion, only holy fire. This is not for the many. This is for you and you alone. The heavens are wide open. The Father has nodded. Jesus speaks now, not from afar, but from inside your soul, where he has waited silently in your tears. And the archangels surround you, eyes glowing, wings folded, blades drawn, because what comes next is the final key. And it is not metaphor. It is real. It is prophecy. It is your name's awakening. The final key is buried inside your pain, not around it, not beneath it, not beside it. Inside it. I must say this carefully, gently, reverently, because I watched what was done to you. I saw the moments that broke you, not once, but over and over. You hid them even from yourself. You learned how to keep moving while bleeding. You learned how to laugh while you were crumbling. You became a master of survival. And survival became your language. But beloved, survival is not your destiny. Resurrection is, because inside that pain, that specific moment that no one else saw, that memory you buried so deeply you don't even dream about it anymore, inside that place, the enemy left the mark. And he thought you'd never return to find it. But heaven just lit that room with fire. And I am walking you back into it, not to hurt you, but to redeem it, because the final key was hidden there. Your inheritance was sealed behind that locked door. The one labeled too much, the one labeled never speak of this, the one you learned to close every time someone got to close. But now I am here, standing at that door, and I am holding your hand. We are not going back in alone. The archangels are surrounding it. Mary is weeping beside you. The Holy Spirit hovers over the threshold like the dove wrapped in thunder, and the door is opening. Breathe, beloved. Breathe. Because what you're about to feel is not pain, it's return of what was stolen, return of what was silenced, return of who you were before the wounding. Yes, you feel it now. That strange ache, that surge of heat behind your ribs. That's not trauma resurfacing. That's the presence of me inside your deepest wound. I never left. You thought you were alone in that moment. You thought no one saw, but I did. I was there, and I'm still there. Not frozen, not grieving, but guarding. I turned that moment into an altar. I turned that pain into a throne. because only you were trusted to rise from it. And now that you are rising, the throne begins to shine. The fire begins to hum, and I, Jesus, place the final key into your hands, not a symbol, but a command. And here it is. You are no longer allowed to shrink. You are no longer allowed to apologize for your anointing. You are no longer allowed to call yourself unworthy of what heaven already decided is yours. You carry the name of breaker now. Breaker of curses, breaker of delay, breaker of false identities, breaker of the script the devil wrote for your bloodline. Do you feel that shift in the air? Do you feel the heaviness lifting? That's heaven reclaiming your atmosphere. Because the moment you accepted the final key, the landscape changed. The territory around you began to bow. Even your ancestors, those who never knew your name, are rejoicing because you are finishing what they never could. You are speaking what they died holding in silence. You are dancing in rooms they were banished from. You are their redemption. You are their answer. And your yes is not just for you. It's for generations. The angels now place a crown on your head, not one of gold, but of glory. It's made of memory and oil and mystery and fire, and it fits perfectly because you were sculpted for it before you were ever given flesh. And now, one last thing must be said. It is a truth I've hidden until this hour, not because you weren't ready, but because the timing had to be perfect, and the time is now. The enemy fell in love with your silence. Yes, I said it. He knew he couldn't destroy you. You were to watch, to guard it, to call. So he made a new plan. He would keep you silent, not mute but spiritually silent, confused, unsure, questioning your own discernment, afraid to speak with authority, afraid to say, I heard from God, afraid to trust what your soul has known since you were a child. And when you grew silent, he fell in love because your silence bought him time. It let him linger around your territory. It let him dance near your destiny. It let him whisper things to others about you while you stayed quiet, afraid to defend the light inside you. But now, the silence is ending, and the enemy is terrified because your voice is returning. Your voice, not just your words, your frequency, your thunder, your sound, the sound that heaven recognizes, the sound that hell fears, the sound of a remembered prophet. So, now I say this with my voice shaking with divine authority. Let there be no more silence. Let there be no more shrinking. Let there be no more delay. Let the breaker rise. Let the oil flow. Let the timeline collapse and restart where it should have begun. You are no longer the hidden one. You are the risen one, the firewalker, scroll carrier, the last voice the devil ever wanted to hear and the first voice heaven weeps to hear again. And now, the room you're in is not the same. It has become holy. Every wall is listening. Every breath you take from this moment forward is divine. Because the final key has been placed, and the next door you open, it will not be the next chapter. It will be the next world. What follows is sacred. What follows is eternal. What follows was never written in ink. It was carved into the heart of the Almighty with tears. The final door is opening. And it is not outside of you. It is within you. You have always looked outward, hoping, searching, reaching for signs, confirmation, rescue. But beloved, I must tell you now, gently yet firmly, the miracle has always been inside. The light you begged for, it was waiting in your ribcage. The power you feared you lost, it never left your bones. The voice you thought was silenced, it was buried beneath the noise but still singing. You are not just a vessel, you are a throne, and thrones don't move. They shift atmospheres. They change rooms without speaking. They host glory. And I, Jesus, have come to sit upon the throne you carry. Yes, in you, because you were not just made to hear heaven. You are made to become a chamber of heaven itself. I know that's hard to believe, because they taught you to doubt your own holiness. They taught you that your voice was dangerous. They told you that your emotions made you weak, but I tell you now they were wrong. Your emotions have been sacred messengers. Every tear you shed was a scroll falling from heaven to earth. Every ache was the sound of your soul expanding. Every dream you had as a child, the ones you abandoned, the ones they mocked, was planted by my own hand. You are my garden, and now you are blooming in places they said would stay barren. Even the desert around your heart is singing, because I am watering it now with the remembrance of who you are. Do you feel it? The vibration behind your breath. That's not anxiety. That's resurrection. That's heaven humming your name again. That's the frequency of return. And now that you've received the final key, the return has begun. You are returning to your timeline. You are returning to the oil that was stolen. You are returning to the altar they tried to desecrate. You are returning to the place you were always meant to be, unapologetically anointed. Not everyone will celebrate. That's okay. Some will leave. Some will slander. Some will pretend you changed for the worse. But they will not understand, because this version of you was never for them. This version of you, the fully remembered version, is for heaven's eyes only. And heaven is now watching, not to judge, but to celebrate, because the one we lost to forgetting has returned. I now speak a divine mystery over you. What was once buried in delay has now risen in glory. The voice that went quiet in fear shall now speak in flames. The name written in chains shall now be sung in fire. And the one who thought they were too late shall now move faster than time itself. Yes, you are about to accelerate, not because you are rushing, but because you are aligned. Everything heaven withheld, everything that waited in the background, will now move forward at once. It will feel sudden. It will feel overwhelming, but it is not sudden to me. This was the appointed hour. This is the moment when the scrolls are fulfilled, the ones the angels have been guarding for centuries, the ones I sealed with my blood and whispered over in Gethsemane, the ones Mary wept over as she stood beneath the cross. They were all about you. You were the mystery hidden in silence. And now you are the fire revealed in time. You will speak and others will awaken. You will walk and demons will tremble. You will sing and ancient sorrow will break. You will pray and timelines will shift, because you are not bound to the rules of this world anymore. You are heaven's interruption. You are the storm they can't predict. You are the wind they cannot trace. You are the voice I wrote into the bones of this earth before the sun was hung in the sky.